Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to your Monday game supplement review. That's right, Dragon Mountain from TSR, 1980, 90 something. I can't read, the printing's too small. I don't have my readers, but let's take a look. This was a massive mega dungeon. So far, this one is the big bad boy of them all. I know there's some more that have come out since then, but in the back, in the before times, this one was just, well, let's go into it. Book 1, Book 2, Book 3, 364-page books to get you from the beginning to the big Dukaroo with the big bad red dragon mama at the end. Book 1 is a lot of history and the first leg of the adventure that includes tackling a Hydra and trying to obtain a mystic amulet, I believe, that allows you to go into Dragon Mountain. Dragon Mountain is a mountain that disappears from the real world for 20 years, comes back for a month, and disappears again. And during the time that the dragon took over the dwarven stronghold in the mountain, had a bunch of kobolds come in and become its minions. Then Book 2 runs you through a haunted house of all things. It's okay. And then Book 3 finally gets you into the mountain and under the mountain and eventually with the big Dukaroo. This book really should have been bigger, but then there were 3 giant maps of the mountain itself. I'm a little difficulty opening these up, but nice 4-color, and they color-coded all the areas to help organize it. I'm not going to show off all 3 maps because they're, you get the idea. You saw the first one. Then there are 16 player handouts, including there's actually several more maps for specific areas, but that's the Dragon Mountain. These are for, like the Hydra lair, the haunted house. And then there's this big, I believe this is a tactical map for the standees that come with it. It's a 4 or 8 page giant map. The dragon itself is described, if it was in scale to 25mm miniatures at the time, would be over 3 feet in length. Crazy when you think about it. You're fighting Godzilla, basically. But then the players' handouts, some imagery of different places, the amulet that I told you about. There's several pages of text, notes that you find and letters from people to one another to help you solve all the issues. And there's some more like hand-drawn looking maps. It's just chock full of great physical items that you can show and hand to the players, as well as more maps. This literally could be the entire campaign from start to finish. Start at level 1 or maybe 3 on your way to fight the Hydra, etc. It's also got this page of cutouts, but they're barely staying inside the frame that they come in. And there is a cutout. I don't have the plastic stands that hold up the standees. There's also 8 pages of monsters for the Monsters Compendium. I even have the Winter '93 catalog in here, and 8 pages of new monsters that are, for the most part, kind of. I would have done stuff differently. A lot of them are just. You should have just left them in the book. You know, you're rarely ever going to use them. And then it actually came with a giant Dragon Mountain poster that if I open a shop, this will go up in a frame somewhere. But to be honest, it's not bad. The treasure, however, is pretty weak in my experience. But mind you, it's second edition, and they really watered down the treasure compared to the original Monster Manual. Is one of my beefs, that the percentages to find treasure on the A through Z chart didn't change at all, but the exact number of coins and things you find was literally like cut in half. And I found that kind of, okay, you made everything else beefier, tougher, and harder and stronger, but all the treasure was cut in half. So it's like you're getting, you're doing twice the work to get half the pay you used to get in first edition. But that's my problem with second edition. But as it is, I easily give this an 8 out of 10 compared to Undermountain, which me and the guys were talking about. Not a huge fan. It's not bad. Undermountain could be made into a great adventure, as could this one if you beef it up a little here and there and maybe take out some of the gosh darn kobolds, because there's just so many of them, and they're just so they're sneaky, they're conniving, they're better than your old school kobolds by ways, kind of like Turner's kobolds, but not as much, but still a pain in the rear end, easily more dangerous than the kobolds of Keep on the Borderlands, things like that. But after a while, with the large number of factions of kobolds, I think there's like 12 different factions of kobolds, and you could, I suppose, try to get them to start fighting each other and, get some to help you out and that kind of thing. But that, to me, sounds kind of boring or tedious. But I don't know, maybe you guys did this, maybe you ran through Undermountain, maybe you had a better experience than I did. I ran through it, but I didn't run it. Would I run it? Maybe, but I think I could do better. I couldn't do better with the handouts and the artwork, obviously, but I think I could come up with a better reason and story behind it. Even the idea that the big red dragon moved into a dwarven kingdom and took it over. It just sounds familiar. I don't know, maybe you guys heard something about something like that once upon a time in a very famous story elsewhere. But, if you can grab a copy of this, I actually have a second copy that's missing a bunch of pieces, and I'm going to have to go through it and make sure I keep the best pieces in one, and then maybe, sell the parts off for people who are looking for specific pieces to make theirs complete. But let me know what you think, what you thought, if you'd run it, if you'd want to run through it, if it was your favorite of the Mega Dungeons, if you've got other Mega Dungeons you'd recommend that I take a look at that are not an arm and a leg and impossible to find. But that's what I got for you this morning. I hope you guys have a great week. Summer's coming to a close. You can already feel the weather cooling off a little. It's only in the 90s now, but it is in the 60s at night. But like I said, that's what I got for you this morning. Hope you guys have a great week. I will see you guys real soon, and until then, happy trails.